What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're tackling a question I get all the time. What are the best pistols you can actually get for under 300 bucks? Now, this isn't just a list I pulled off the internet. I personally ran a minimum of 1,000 rounds through every single handgun we're about to talk about. To make the cut, these pistols had to meet some serious criteria. 1. They have to be dependable. When you press the trigger, it has to go bang. 2. They have to be accurate enough to do the job. 3. They gotta be reasonably lightweight and practical. And 4. They need to be friendly for a new shooter. This list doesn't include any obscure, hard-to-find imports or discontinued safe queens. Everything here should be easy to track down. A quick disclaimer, every pistol you see here I bought for less than $300. But you know how the market is. Prices are always shifting, so what I paid last year might not be what you pay today. I'll flag any big changes. And finally, each of these needs to be a multi-role firearm. Whether it's for concealed carry, sitting on your nightstand for home defense, or just punching paper at the range. All right, let's get into it. Here are my top affordable pistols under the $300 mark. Number 5. The Stoeger STR-9. Kicking things off at number 5 is a handgun that honestly flies way too far under the radar, the Stoeger STR-9. This is one of those pistols that just works, even if it doesn't have the big name hype. And frankly, I'm surprised, considering just how much it brings to the table for the money. So what are we looking at? It's a 9mm striker-fired polymer frame pistol. That's a familiar setup to just about anyone who's been around modern handguns. But the STR-9 sets itself apart by giving you options. Stoeger offers this thing in a bunch of different configurations. You can get it with multiple magazines, interchangeable backstraps, or, and this is the big one, you can get it optic-ready right out of the box. Finding an optic-ready slide in this price category is almost unheard of, especially under that $300 line. Standard features include functional 3-dot sights and an accessory rail. So if you want to mount a flashlight for bedside duty or a laser just for fun at the range, you are good to go. It ships with a double-stack magazine holding 15 rounds, which is right where it should be for a compact service-style pistol. You're looking at a 4-inch barrel, and it weighs in just under 30 ounces. Now, that's a little heavier than some of its polymer competition, but that extra mass really helps soak up recoil. It just translates to a smoother, more comfortable shooting experience. On the range, this pistol holds its own. It's got front slide serrations, which give you a good purchase for press checks. The trigger guard is nicely cut. The grip texture is aggressive enough to lock in, and the takedown system is clearly inspired by the Glock platform. No mysteries there. And for you southpaws, the magazine release is reversible. Now, reliability. The STR-9 performed reasonably well for me. I put 800 rounds through this specific one, and I had exactly 2 malfunctions. That's not flawless, but for a budget-friendly handgun, that is solid performance. And the best part? I scored this one for just 200 bucks at my local Scheels right before the prices started to creep up. Nowadays, you'll probably find them floating between $250 and $300, which is still a killer deal for what you're getting. So, why is it sitting at number 5 and not higher? 2 main drawbacks. 1, it's not made here in the United States. And 2, and this is the bigger one, Stoeger's quality control isn't quite on par with top-tier names like Glock. If a company like Glock is hitting, say, 99.9% consistency across their line, Stoeger is probably closer to 99.7%. It's not a massive difference, but it's enough to mention if you are serious about performance. Number 4. The Canik TP9 Elite SC coming in at number 4, a pistol from a brand that has been taking the firearms community by storm. The Canik TP9 Series. Specifically, I'm talking about the Elite SC model. Now, I'm going to be upfront. This is the priciest gun on today's list. When I picked mine up, it ran me about $305 after tax. And since then, the market has pushed that price up closer to $350. This pistol is the reason I put that disclaimer in at the beginning. Technically, it's a bit of a cheat because you can still find the full-size TP9 models for between $250 and $300 depending on where you shop. But in my opinion, the Elite SC hits that perfect sweet spot of value, features, and performance. That's why it earned its place here. This is another striker-fired polymer frame 9mm. But what sets this pistol apart is how much stuff it gives you, straight out of the box. It ships with 2 magazines, one holds 12 rounds, and the other holds 15. And if you happen to be in a restricted state, they do offer 10-round versions. But the real standout? This thing is optic ready, right from the factory, and it includes a set of mounting plates to fit most common red dots. That is a rare feature in this price bracket, especially on a compact carry gun. Now let's talk about the fit and finish. The tungsten Cerakote finish gives it this classy two-tone look. The trigger safety is highlighted in red, which isn't just for looks. It gives you good visual feedback. It comes with aggressive front slide serrations, a finely textured grip, and honestly, one of the best factory triggers you will find on any handgun under $400. Period. The iron sights also deserve a serious mention. You get a Warren tactical fiber optic front sight, paired with a blacked-out rear sight that's cut for one-handed slide manipulation. That means you can run that slide off your belt, your boot heel, or a tabletop if you really have to. It also comes with interchangeable back straps, a Picatinny accessory rail, a holster, and a loaded chamber indicator. And they didn't forget the lefties either. This pistol has ambidextrous controls that are easy to work from either side. So why isn't it ranked higher? Well, while it is packed to the gills with features, it did have a small hiccup in the reliability department. After running 1,000 rounds through mine, I ran into 2 malfunctions. Not a deal breaker, but just enough to keep it out of the top 3. Generally, Canik pistols have a solid reputation for dependability. But there's one thing you need to know. These handguns are originally tuned for 124-grain NATO spec ammunition. If you're feeding it the lighter, 115-grain American target loads like Fiocchi, Winchester White Box, or American Eagle, you may occasionally experience a failure to cycle. Why? The recoil spring is calibrated for that hotter European spec ammo. The lighter loads just don't always have enough gas to run the slide consistently. There are a few simple fixes. You can either break that recoil spring in by storing the slide locked to the rear for a few days. You can swap in a slightly lighter spring, or you can just run a few hundred rounds of hotter ammo through it until everything smooths out. Once it's properly broken in, the Elite SC is a rock-solid performer. I still highly recommend it because it is just that good to shoot. The trigger is phenomenal, the sights are dialed in, and the ergonomics make follow-up shots fast and intuitive. Whether you're using it for concealed carry or setting it up for home defense, this pistol gives you a ton of capability without requiring a major investment. For a subcompact 9mm, it offers an excellent balance between portability, power, and shootability. It's just a smart choice for any shooter who wants high performance without breaking the bank. Number 3. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. Taking the number 3 spot is a slim single-stack subcompact that really defined the category. The Smith & Wesson M&P Shield. This one brings a little variety to the list. You can go with the original first-generation Shield, which is going to be easier on your wallet. Or you can step up to the 2.0 version, which improves on a few key details for just a bit more cash. The great news is that both models still regularly sell for under $300. They are just fantastic values. Like most guns in this roundup, the Shield is a striker-fired polymer-framed 9mm. But this one is sized for concealment. It's sporting a 3-inch barrel and it tips the scales at just 20 ounces. That lack of weight, man, it just makes it disappear when you're carrying it. It ships standard with a 7+1 capacity. Now, that might seem a bit low to some folks, but aftermarket extended magazines are everywhere if you want more rounds on board. Between the two versions, the 2.0 model has a noticeably better trigger feel, but even the first-gen model gets the job done just fine. What really stands out on both is that aggressive grip texture. It gives you a solid, confident control while you're shooting. Even though it's marketed hard for concealed carry, it's just big enough that you could comfortably use it for home defense, or as a first pistol for a new shooter. Here's the thing, a lot of new gun owners are drawn to the smallest possible pistol, thinking it'll be the easiest to handle. That is not always the case. Tiny, micro-compacts tend to be snappier and harder to shoot well. The Shield. It strikes a near-perfect balance between being compact and being controllable. It's available with or without a thumb safety, so you can pick the version that fits your manual of arms. It's simple to operate, it's ergonomically sound, and most importantly, it is very dependable. Among single-stack subcompacts, it's one of the most proven pistols on the market. Accuracy is surprisingly good, too. I've personally hit targets out at 100 yards using the 2.0 model. That is just wild for a pistol with such a short barrel. Another major plus with the Shield is the enormous aftermarket support. It's been out for so long that holsters, magazines, sights, and upgrades are just everywhere. I always recommend having at least 4 magazines per firearm, and for this model, that is easy to do. Mags are inexpensive and easy to find, whether you're shopping online or just stopping by your local gun store. If you want a no-fuss, concealable, and ultra-reliable sidearm that can absolutely double as a home defense option, the M&P Shield is an easy recommendation. Number 2. The Taurus G2C And G3. Alright, now for number 2. We've got a budget-friendly workhorse that has earned its reputation through sheer, undeniable performance. The Taurus G2C and its slightly larger sibling, the G3. I'm going to focus mostly on the G2C, but just know that the G3 brings very similar features just with a longer barrel and a little more size. When it comes to reliable handguns that will not empty your wallet, it is hard to beat this series. Look, I know what the internet gun snobs say about Taurus, but the G-Series, they got this one right. Both models are polymer-framed, striker-fired 9mm pistols that just offer a ton of value for the price. You'll usually find them packaged with 2 magazines, a 15-rounder and a 17-rounder for the G3. And of course, 10-round magazines are available if you live in a more restrictive state. With a 4-inch barrel and a weight of about 24 ounces, the G3 hits that perfect middle ground. It's compact enough to conceal if you need to, but it's large enough to serve as a primary home defense tool. I picked mine up for just $219. And while deals that good aren't always around, you can definitely still grab one for under $250 if you shop smart. Aside from that rock-bottom price, the G2C and G3 models come with features you usually find on much more expensive firearms. There's a Picatinny rail for mounting lights or lasers. The trigger is surprisingly crisp and smooth, and it has a restrike capability, which is an interesting feature. It's got a user-friendly magazine release that makes reloads quick. And you get front slide serrations, which make it easy to manipulate the slide, even under stress. If you want to customize it, the aftermarket has really stepped up. You can add mag extensions, swap in fiber optic sights, or go with other upgrades to make the gun your own. I personally upgraded the sights on mine, and the improvement in target acquisition was immediate. While holster options aren't quite as abundant as they are for the M&P Shield, they are still very easy to find. A quick note. This pistol does include a manual safety, but if you're not a fan, you can always just train to leave it disengaged. The Glock-style takedown system also makes it simple to disassemble and clean, and if you're new to firearms, proper maintenance is critical. This is a budget-friendly tool. Clean it and lubricate it often, and it'll run like a champ. For anyone looking for a new handgun under $250 that can pull double duty as a defensive tool, a range pistol, or just something fun to shoot, the Taurus G2C or G3 delivers way more than its price tag suggests. Number 1. Used Glock, Smith & Wesson M&P. Alright, claiming the number 1 spot. This might seem like I'm bending the rules a bit, but let's be honest. No list of top-tier budget handguns under $300 would be complete without this entry. I'm talking about used models of the first-generation Smith & Wesson M&P or the third-generation Glock 17 or Glock 19. These pistols are everywhere. And with just a little patience, you can almost always find one in solid condition for under $300 at your local pawn shop, gun store, or online marketplace. Let's pause for a second and talk about buying used firearms. For some reason, a lot of people get hesitant when it comes to second-hand guns, and that's always been a head-scratcher for me. Folks buy used vehicles every single day without batting an eye. So if you're okay picking up a 2004 Honda Civic or a Volvo 850, then you should feel just as confident buying a quality firearm that was built to run for decades. Now, sure, if we're talking about collectible classics like a 1911, or an M1 carbine, or a Colt 1873, yeah, you'll want to do a little more homework. But for modern duty pistols like the M&P or a Glock, the risk is minimal, and the payoff is huge. Let's start with the third-generation Glock. These things are known to chew through anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 rounds without flinching. And that is not some internet myth. There are thousands of shooters out there who can back that up with real-world experience. You're getting a platform that's not just reliable, it is absolutely battle-proven. It's got a track record that includes law enforcement, military, and civilian defense all over the globe. One of the biggest downsides with brand new ultra-budget handguns is the potential for inconsistent quality control. That is just not something you will deal with when you buy a used Glock or a Smith & Wesson M&P. These firearms have already passed rigorous testing, and they have decades of real-world use under their belts. What you are getting is combat-grade reliability in a platform that's been vetted in the harshest conditions imaginable. And here is the real kicker. The aftermarket support is unmatched. There is no other handgun under $300 that gives you this level of flexibility. You want extended mags, optic-ready slides, upgraded barrels, custom triggers, night sights? The options are endless. Magazines are dirt cheap, available in every size, and you can find them in pretty much every gun store in America. And when it comes to holsters, there is something for every carry style, from kydex to leather to inside the waistband to duty-style rigs. Now both platforms follow that familiar polymer frame, striker-fired 9mm formula. But unlike many newer budget pistols, you are not gambling on build quality or long-term reliability. If you prefer a manual safety, the M&P gives you that option. If not, the Glock keeps things minimal and snag-free. If I had to choose between compact and full-sized versions, I'd go with the full-sized every time. They're easier to control, they have better recoil management, and they usually come with 15 to 17 round magazines. Most used models, especially police trade-ins, even ship with 3 mags included, so you are ready to rock right out of the gate. Here's the bottom line. If all the handguns on this list were laid out on a table in front of me, and I had to pick one without hesitation, I would walk straight to a used 3rd-generation Glock 17. It's the pistol I started with. It has never let me down, and even in the rare chance something does go wrong, parts are so widely available and so cheap you can have it back in working order the same day. And that wraps it up. Those are my picks for the best handguns you can buy for under $300. If you're with me, give that like button a tap. If you've got your own list, and I know you do, post it in the comments. I'd love to hear what budget-friendly blasters you trust your life with. And don't forget to subscribe for more honest gear breakdowns, range reports, and shooting tips. Stay sharp out there, and as always, be ready.